Hi, Todd. Welcome back. Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com, Cleveland Plain Dealer. Well, I guess I'll start right off the bat with the question probably everybody wants to know. Will you head into this offseason with Shedeur Sanders as your QB1? And if not, what is your approach to the whole quarterback situation as you move into your new job?
Well, I think like any position on the team, that's still to be determined. Am I excited about Shedeur? Am I excited about all the quarterbacks in the room? Am I excited to coach this?
Okay, guys, today was the first day of mandatory minicamp for Shedeur and the Cleveland Browns, and he shined bright like a diamond right in front of the owner, Jimmy Halsam, and he also was pulled for a press conference, and he got asked some questions that I feel like was totally disrespectful, and he had to shut down Mary Kay Cabot, who always has something negative to say about him in the first place, so I don't know what makes her think she has the authority to ask the question that she asked, and I'm going to let you guys hear it, and I want you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
Your dad mentioned on a recent podcast that, you know, he's still kind of going through his health challenge. And that he's
I don't know what's going on. So I'm here not to talk about Pops and him. Yeah. I'm here for the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, my question was, though, if you don't mind answering this, do you kind of have to just, like you said, be where your feet are, and not, I'm sure that's something that would be a worry to you if you let yourself kind of think about it here. So is that something that you're trying to just
I'm focused on learning this playbook and everything I got to do to be the most successful quarterback I could be and be the best teammate I could be. Outside of that, I don't really have no thoughts or, really opinions on anything outside of this game.
There you go right there, folks. Asking him about Coach Prime's health when he's clearly trying to, focus on what's going on right there in Cleveland and taking his mind off the game and trying to do whatever she can to try to detour him from being great. Y'all like, subscribe, and leave a comment and let me know what y'all think about this.
Mary Kay Cabot thought she had Shedeur Sanders trapped when she ambushed Todd Monken at his introductory press conference with a loaded question about the quarterback situation. But what happened next exposed her entire agenda and proved why she's the most hated reporter in Cleveland. While Mary Kay was trying to create doubt and controversy, Shedeur was at the Pro Bowl preparing the perfect response that would shut her down completely. And when that reporter tried to piggyback off Mary Kay's mess during Shedeur's interview, the way he handled it didn't just embarrass Mary Kay, it sent a message to every doubter in the league. Todd Monken saw it coming from a mile away, and what he said about quarterback traits, he was talking about one person, and everybody knows exactly who that is.
What are the traits that you feel like are critical for a successful quarterback, regardless of level?
Well, I'm just going to start with personality traits. I mean, when you talk about who's going to lead this team, who has the it factor, who has those characteristics that the team wants to follow and believes in them because the ball's in their hand every down. This game's going to come down to 2-minute situations, 4-minute situations. We've got to be able to execute at the high level. And we're just talking about some of the characteristics that you're looking for, let alone some of the physical traits that...
Look, we need to talk about what just happened in Cleveland, because this wasn't just another press conference. This was Todd Monken drawing a line in the sand and telling the Cleveland media, especially Mary Kay Cabot, that he's not playing their games. And the way this whole situation unfolded between Monken's press conference and Shedeur's Pro Bowl interview, it's about to change everything. Let me set the scene for you. Todd Monken gets introduced as the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. The room is packed with reporters, cameras everywhere, and everyone's waiting to see what the new guy is going to say. And who's sitting there ready to pounce? Mary Kay Cabot. Now, if you've been following Cleveland football for any amount of time, you know exactly who Mary Kay is and what she does. She's built a career off asking loaded questions, stirring up controversy, and trying to create narratives that don't exist. So what does Mary Kay do? She doesn't waste a single second. She doesn't ask about Monken's vision for the team. She doesn't ask about his coaching philosophy. She doesn't ask about how he plans to build a winning culture. Nope. She goes straight for the jugular with the most divisive question she could possibly ask. Will you head into this offseason with Shedeur Sanders as your QB1? And if not, what is your approach to the whole quarterback situation? You see what she did there? She phrased it in a way that forces Monken to either commit to Shedeur on day one or create doubt about his future. It's a trap question designed to generate headlines either way. If Monken says yes, Mary Kay and the rest of the Cleveland media will spend the next 6 months questioning the decision. If Monken says no or deflects, they'll write articles about how Shedeur's already lost the job before training camp even starts. But here's where Todd Monken showed exactly why he's a different breed of coach. He didn't take the bait. He didn't play her game. Instead, he gave her the most coach-like answer possible while simultaneously telling everyone who was really paying attention exactly what he thinks about Shedeur Sanders. Monken said, "I think like any position on the team, that's still to be determined. Am I excited about Shedeur? Am I excited about all the quarterbacks in the room? Am I excited to coach this football team? Absolutely. I can't wait for them to get back and for us to get started."
What? Have you talked to Todd Monken?
Yeah.
You have?
Coach Monken's, he's real cool.
Tell me about that.
It was cool. We had a brief interaction, honestly. But I know the fact that I have this mindset that I'm in and this mind frame that I'm in, I'm able to handle pretty much anything, so I'm just thankful to be here. I'm thankful to have Coach Monken and being able to connect with him.
Now, on the surface, that sounds like standard coach speak, right? Every new coach says they're excited about their roster. Every new coach says positions are to be determined. But if you actually listen to what Monken said, not just the words, but the tone and the emphasis, he told you everything you need to know. Am I excited about Shedeur? That was the first name out of his mouth. Not Deshaun Watson, not Dylan Gabriel. Shedeur Sanders. And Mary Kay, she got absolutely nothing from that response that she could twist into a negative headline. She thought she was going to corner him, and instead he flipped it on her and made it clear that he's not going to let the Cleveland media dictate how he runs his football team. But wait, because it gets even better. Another reporter follows up with a question about what traits Monken looks for in a quarterback. And this is where the embarrassment really starts for Mary Kay, because Monken's answer is basically a scouting report on Shedeur Sanders without actually saying his name. Monken says, "I'm just going to start with personality traits. When you talk about who's going to lead this team, who has the it factor, who has those characteristics that the team wants to follow and believes in them because the ball's in their hand every down, this game is going to come down to 2-minute situations, 4-minute situations. You got to be able to execute at a high level." Let me ask you something. Who in that Cleveland quarterback room has the personality traits Monken's talking about? Who has the it factor? Who do the players actually rally around and believe in? Because it sure as hell isn't Deshaun Watson, who's coming off another injury and has completely lost the locker room. And it definitely isn't Dylan Gabriel, who barely got any reps last season and doesn't have the respect or the presence that Monken's describing. The only person who fits that description is Shedeur Sanders. The players love him, the organization respects him, and more importantly, he has that natural leadership quality that you can't coach. When Monken talks about having the ball in your hands every down and being able to execute in critical situations, he's describing exactly what Shedeur did at Jackson State in Colorado, carrying teams on his back when it mattered most. Now, here's where this story gets even more interesting, and it's something that a lot of people don't know. Shedeur Sanders was recruited by the University of Georgia coming out of high school, and guess who was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Georgia at that time? Todd Monken. That's right. Monken tried to recruit Shedeur years ago. He knows this kid. He's been watching him develop. And when they had that brief interaction after Monken got hired, the one where they embraced and Monken told Shedeur, "We tried to recruit you. We tried to draft you." That wasn't just small talk. That was Monken letting Shedeur know that he's always believed in him.
In your approach, 5th round pick, they did draft Dylan 2 rounds in front of you, and you come into basically a 4-man quarterback competition for potentially a starting job in your rookie year.
I just feel like in life and everything, it's just me versus me. I can't control any other decision besides that, so I just try to be my best self at all times.
Shedeur, can you talk about the community work you've done so far here since you've gotten to Cleveland?
Yeah, so typically every state I go to, I don't really be on like social like that. I got people that just run it for me and stuff. So like what I find fun and interesting, and it's a lot of just, I don't know, it's just joy to me.
And by the way, Monken was the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens last year. You know what that means? When the Ravens were preparing for the draft, they looked at Shedeur Sanders. They evaluated him. They considered drafting him. Monken has been in the film room studying Shedeur's game. This isn't a coach who's going into the season blind or uncertain about what Shedeur can do. This is a coach who has done his homework and knows exactly what he's getting. But here's the absolute best part of this entire saga. While all of this is happening in Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders is in Orlando for the Pro Bowl. He's playing flag football with Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and the rest of the NFL's elite. And a reporter sits down with him for an interview on the Up and Adams show. And what does this reporter do? She tries to create controversy by bringing up what Todd Monken said about Shedeur's role being to be determined. Watch how Shedeur handles this. The reporter says, "Todd Monken said this morning that your role is to be determined. What's your reaction to that?" And Shedeur, without missing a beat, says, "That's what's expected. I think each and every day I have to prove to everybody and to myself also. So it's kind of like having goals and accomplishing those goals, whether it's small goals, and the small goals will end up to long-term success. So it's kind of like just hit your landmarks on what you need to do, focus more in depth on everything you want to, and just be in control of your life and what you can control." Are you kidding me? This is the same player that people said had no media training. This is the same player that critics claimed couldn't handle interviews or press conferences. And he just gave one of the most mature, professional, and perfectly crafted responses you'll ever hear from a young quarterback. Shedeur didn't get defensive. He didn't complain. He didn't take the bait and create a headline. Instead, he flipped the entire narrative and showed exactly why Todd Monken was talking about leadership and personality traits earlier. Because this is what real leadership looks like. This is what having the IT factor means. It's not just about throwing touchdowns or making plays on the field. It's about how you carry yourself, how you handle adversity, and how you respond when people try to create doubt around you. And you know what the beautiful part about all of this is? Mary Kay Cabot got absolutely embarrassed. She thought she was going to trap Todd Monken into saying something controversial about Shedeur. Instead, Monken praised him and laid out exactly what he's looking for in a quarterback, qualities that Shedeur embodies perfectly. Then, when another reporter tried to use Monken's to-be-determined comment to create drama with Shedeur, he handled it with such grace and maturity that it made Mary Kay's original question look petty and ridiculous. This is why Todd Monken is different from Kevin Stefanski. Remember last season when Stefanski would go out of his way to avoid saying Shedeur's name? Remember how he sabotaged Shedeur by refusing to give him opportunities and refusing to acknowledge him in press conferences? Todd Monken is the complete opposite. In his very first press conference, he mentioned Shedeur by name multiple times. He talked about being excited to coach him. He described quarterback traits that perfectly match Shedeur's skill set. This isn't a coach who's trying to hide from his young quarterback. This is a coach who's ready to develop him and give him a real shot.
What it came with.
It seems like you have really kept your head up, you've kept your spirits up. You always have a smile on your face, even in the wake of tumbling to the 5th round of the draft. So how have you been able to do that? I mean, you just didn't let this take you down.
I mean, you just got to step back and look at life. Like, you're in a great situation overall that you're able to be healthy. You know, that's one thing going through, you know, even with my brother going through an injury and my pops and everybody in the family, like, you value life and you value opportunity and just waking up every day a different way. So that's kind of...
Let me paint the picture for you of what's really happening here. Todd Monken has studied Mary Kay Cabot for years. He's watched her ask loaded questions to other coaches. He's seen how she operates and how she tries to manipulate narratives. And when he walked into that press conference, he was ready for her. He didn't let her control the conversation. He didn't give her ammunition to write negative stories. Instead, he took her question, deflected it perfectly, and then used follow-up questions to paint a clear picture of what he values in a quarterback. And the Cleveland media? They're mad. They're upset that Todd Monken isn't playing their games. They thought they could bully him like they did with other coaches. They thought they could force him into making premature commitments or saying something he'd regret later. But Monken showed up prepared, confident, and completely unbothered by their tactics. Now, let's talk about what this means for Shedeur Sanders moving forward. Everything that happened in that press conference, from Monken mentioning Shedeur's name first, to describing quarterback traits that match Shedeur perfectly, to the history between them from Shedeur's recruitment days, all of it points in one direction. Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in 2026. Now, I'm not saying he's going to walk into training camp and automatically be handed the job. Competition is good. Every quarterback should have to earn their spot. But what I am saying is that Todd Monken came to Cleveland with a plan, and that plan includes giving Shedeur Sanders a legitimate opportunity to prove himself. Unlike Kevin Stefanski, who sabotaged Shedeur from day one, Monken actually wants to see what the kid can do. And you know what's going to make this even sweeter? When Shedeur walks into that building and proves all the doubters wrong. When he shows up every day with that same maturity and professionalism he displayed in that Pro Bowl interview. When he studies the playbook, earns the respect of his teammates, and forces Todd Monken to make him the starter because he's simply the best option. That's when all of these Mary Kay Cabot types are going to have to eat their words and admit they were wrong about him. Think about everything Shedeur has been through. He was doubted at Jackson State. People said the competition was too weak. He transferred to Colorado and carried that team behind the worst offensive line in college football. People said he held the ball too long. He fell to the 5th round of the draft. People said he was overrated. He got drafted in Cleveland and had to deal with Kevin Stefanski's sabotage. People said he couldn't handle the NFL. And now, with a fresh start under Todd Monken, people like Mary Kay Cabot are still trying to create doubt and controversy around him. But here's the thing about Shedeur Sanders that people keep underestimating. He thrives under pressure. He's been doubted his entire life, and every single time, he's proven people wrong. This situation in Cleveland is no different. Mary Kay thought she was exposing weakness when she asked that loaded question at Monken's press conference. Instead, she gave Shedeur another opportunity to show the world who he really is, a mature, focused, professional quarterback who's ready to lead. The embarrassment for Mary Kay isn't just that her plan didn't work. The embarrassment is that both Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders saw right through her tactics and handled them with such class that she ended up looking foolish. Monken gave her nothing to twist into a negative story. Shedeur gave her nothing to create controversy with. They both played chess while she was playing checkers. And the best part? This is just the beginning. Todd Monken made it clear in that press conference that he's not going to tolerate the media shenanigans that plagued this organization under Kevin Stefanski. He's not going to let reporters like Mary Kay dictate his decisions or influence his coaching. He's going to evaluate his players fairly, give everyone a legitimate opportunity to compete, and build the culture he wants to build. For Shedeur Sanders, that's all he's ever asked for, a fair shot. Not special treatment, not guaranteed starts, just a legitimate opportunity to show what he can do. And with Todd Monken as head coach, he's finally going to get that chance. So, here's my question for you. Do you think Mary Kay Cabot will ever learn her lesson and stop trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders? Or is she going to keep pushing these narratives until Shedeur proves her wrong so decisively that she has no choice but to acknowledge his talent? And more importantly, how do you think Shedeur is going to perform under Todd Monken's coaching compared to how he was treated under Kevin Stefanski? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear what you think about this entire situation. If you're tired of the media disrespecting Shedeur Sanders and you want to see him succeed in Cleveland under Todd Monken, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We're going to keep following this story all off-season long, and when Shedeur walks into training camp and starts proving everybody wrong, you're going to want to be here for it.